Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Road to GT Academy 2013. This is on defending, so it's sort of related to the last one, so if you haven't seen the last one, I'd go watch that. I will sort of look over what we spoke about last time with overtaking, but this is sort of how you can stop some of those overtakes that I mentioned. Now, it all interlinks, so obviously if you stop in one, it could create another and things like that. We'll go through that as it goes along. But before, oh yeah, these are the overtakes: the dive, the cutback, control braking, and sort of the multi-corner overtake. Now I've got footage for the dive, the cutback, and the multi-corner. Control braking is sort of the examples of that are with sort of the moves that are performed, like the defensive moves that are performed. So when you're defending the dive, you're sort of controlling the braking. But you'll see that in a minute anyway. But before we get into that, I wanted to just show you a picture that was put on GT Academy's Facebook. I sort of show that, you know, even though something may not have been done, you can still do it. This is Sabine, as you can see, Queen of the Nürburgring, and Pfizer, who's the first ever female GT Academy regional finalist. That was a long title, but yeah. So I just thought I'd put that in just to say, like, you know, congratulations to Pfizer. But you know, or you can always go for it. If you feel you can't do something, that's just a mindset. If you actually put yourself out there and try and do it, you will probably succeed at it. So yeah, I just thought I'd put that in. Right, we'll go straight into the dive. Now, last time I said the dive was this, so an opening gap on the inside of an opponent, allowing you to use the space to overtake. It's called dive usually because it's the last second manoeuvre on a corner. So most of this footage includes Dave from that race I talked about, that first lap race where he's sort of like defending for most of it. There is other footage as well. But as you can see here, I'm behind Dave. I'm on autumn ring, so we've got a long straight. Now first off, as you can see, I'm gaining on slipstream here. This is defending the dive, so with the way the track is, I've sort of shown you an early positioning and then a later positioning. So in this early positioning, as you can see, Dave stays far right, so it automatically stops me from doing the dive because I can't get any closer to the barrier. So I have to stay left. I could consider other options, but Dave covers the apex, so it sort of stops the entire move entirely, and that was sort of the positioning there to block the dive. So he stayed right, knowing that I had momentum coming up behind him. So it meant I had to go left, and because at that point then the momentum sort of equals, obviously the higher the speed, obviously you get more wind resistance and things like that. So the speeds start to match up. He then brakes, I brake, and he stays on the inside. So if I wanted to do a cutback, I can't do a cutback because he's covering the apex. So I sort of either got to go around the outside, which he could force me off, you know, he's in front, he's the lead car, so he could force me off, or I've got to come in behind. So he sort of did control braking, he broke. I'll just replay that. I'll go a bit further back. Sorry, I need to find the start. So here we go again. So as you can see, I've got momentum, I've got a bit faster speed, Dave stays right, I go left. Now you can see my position change to first in a second. There we go, so it's changed. So now we're going under braking. I know Dave's still there, he's covering the apex. I can't do anything, I've just got to come in behind. And Dave keeps the position. Now this is a bit later on in the race. As you can see, I'm a bit further back, so I'm going to have more chance of a slipstream on this one. So we'll watch this through. And this is a much better, like the other one was a good defensive like dive protection, but this is even better if you watch this. Obviously I've got momentum. I could have gone right there and done a really late dive manoeuvre. Now I'll just pause this a second. I could have gone right and done a really late dive manoeuvre. It could have worked. In real life, it may work a bit more, but because obviously I've said in the past it's a game, there's like nothing to lose, and you've got wing mirror issues and things like that. So Dave will more than likely not see me, and it's not his fault if he doesn't see me. He's got no wing mirrors. He's got one mirror if he's on this view, or he's just got to know by looking behind him. So I'll just replay that. So as I'm coming up, I could go right. Dave's sort of in the middle here, so you know he's sort of covering both angles. You'll see him, he's coming over left to then go right, so he's getting a bit better angle on the corner himself to straight line the corner. Now with both of those, so he did an early move and then he did sort of a half covering move where I was a bit further back, so he has more chance of sort of positioning himself better for the corner. But he manages to defend any possible dive if I wanted to go for that, but also put himself in a better position for a defensive dive cover. So the next one is the cutback, and I sort of define the cutback as this. So it usually happens after an opponent goes deep into a corner. So if you can imagine a dive, you would go deep and then you cut back. I showed video footage of that last time. But with the cutback, as they've gone too deep, you get a better exit because you straight line the corner better, and the additional speed you've gained means you can overtake that person. So looking at it from me, I would do the cutback. I would sort of brake as normal, let them go a bit deeper, and then come in on the inside. So we're going to watch a move here with Demi. Now I don't race with Demi that often, so I don't really know his play style. So at first I'll do this cutback, and initially I think it succeeds. But if you notice, he starts gaining momentum here, and I'm just watching where he is on the track. He goes in, and he knows more than likely that I'm going to do the cutback because I've just done it. But if you notice there, I'll sort of stop that in an awkward place. If you watch this, he covers the apex. So even if I go for the cutback, I can't because his car's there. So at this point I hit it slightly, but I can't see where he is. And at that point he's kept the position because he's covered the apex. Now that is the best way to do it. So Dave did it with the dive, where the defensive sort of positioning for the dive, where he also covered the apex, so I couldn't even do the cutback. It's the same again. It's interlinking, but if you cover an apex, they can't do the cutback unless they're very, very tight, or you've just gone slightly wide in a defensive move. Now with the multi-corner, this is sort of a bit more tricky. So I said on this that you might need to do this if you can't use other moves. It's quite a difficult move. But you need to think about the layout of the track and a piece of section of track with several corners where you could, initially it looks like you've got a disadvantage, but because you've placed your car there, you gain an advantage by the end of the sequence. So this is where obviously I overtook Dave and eventually won this race but Dave's defensive driving was amazing in this race. But I used this manoeuvre. Now I'm going to show you this earlier part in the race where a similar thing happened, but it's more predictable that I was going to do this. So as we start playing here, I can talk about it until we get up to it, because it's the same sort of thing. I'm coming up behind Dave. Sorry about that bit of lag. I noticed that in the video footage as well. But yeah, I'm going to initially stay on the outside. Can't do the cutback. Dave's there already. So Dave's staying on the outside. I'm giving him space, I'm letting him run, and now he's gone a bit to the right. Now if you remember last time, the same thing happened. The same thing happened, and then he had to sort of, he went wide slightly on the next bit, and I sort of went on the outside. Now this time, I'll just rewind that again, so we can watch that. Dave runs wide, but he comes back, but he knows I'm going to sort of dart left on the inside for the double left. So he brakes and makes sure his car's there, so I can't go past. So if you just watch this now, so he's going to run a bit wide, and he knows I'm going to go left, but brakes, and I can't do anything. I've got to just stop behind him, otherwise they'll hit him and there'll be carnage. And that's all because Dave knew what was going to happen. Because he ran slightly wide, he then compensated for that, knowing that I would sort of dart left. Because I know Dave's going to sort of try, if he can't make the next corner, he's going to go wide. So I can't go wide. I'll have to go on the inside. But Dave sort of knew this, and then sort of compensated for that by keeping his car on top of the corner and stopping me from doing the overtake. Now that's my opinion of that move. I don't know whether Dave might want to comment and say otherwise, but I believe that's what happened in that instance. That was just a quick view of those and how to defend. Now it's sort of linked hugely with the last video, because obviously it's overtaking and defending, and some defensive moves turn into overtaking moves, some overtaking moves can be turned into defensive moves, which is why it's similar with the way I'm sort of talking with positioning and how predictability can affect what you do. So obviously in this multi-corner defense that Dave did, he predicted and knew where I was going to be, so he could react to that. If you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to react to it, and then you'd lose a place. So that's basically defending. I know that was a bit quick, but I'm trying to make these videos just a bit shorter than the 20-minute, 30-minute ones I did. These are just some more of the overtaking moves. So obviously we're on lap 16 now. I've got another one as well after this on the next lap, and in short it shows you, I try different things here. So I'm trying to cut back in, seeing what I can do with positioning in my car. Obviously it's still quite early in the race, so I'm not going to absolutely risk everything at this point. And as you can see there, Dave's covering all aspects of the track. That GT6, or no, the BRZ, sorry, he's in, is suddenly about 4 times as wide as what the actual manufacturers say it is. So same again, same positioning. Dave can see that he's blocking the dive instantly, so I can't do the dive. I'm going to have to go left. And then I'm just going to react to it and decide what I'm going to try and do. So same again, I'm going to try and go for some sort of positioning. Dave comes across. I wasn't actually expecting that when I was racing, which is why I sort of inched left slightly, and then Dave's covering all positions. Now after this, after these few laps, I do actually go on. I think about tyres, because I don't know if you noticed in the bottom left, the tyre wear's going down, and I'm thinking of later on in the race, because obviously I'm doing all this pushing. The positioning of the cars and stuff, it's going to ruin the tyres more. So I was thinking about that towards the end as well, but that really didn't have an effect actually by the end of the race. So that's another thing you can think about, is just strategy in defensive and offensive and stuff like that. I think I did mention that in the previous video about you can use pit strategy if you have it to overtake somebody. So that's defensive driving. The next video will be on I think it's pole position. So it's sort of a thing I started with Ghost for GT Academy, the last one, the national finals, because you don't get time to qualify or anything. It's sort of adapting yourself very quickly to a situation. So it's the technique me and Ghost use to race with each other to quickly sort of build up our speed, which is I'll explain more when I'm in the next video, but it's sort of 1 out lap, 3 fast laps, 1 in lap, and that's your 5 laps for pole position. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Any comments, feedback, just post in the comments below, leave me a message or whatever. I'm hopefully going to do some more more races online so that people can watch, and I'm also started live streaming. I'll post a link when it's properly up and running and things like that. I'm just trying to sort out the internet connection. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching.